Okay, so last but not least, we will hear now Harry Witzthum and Fabio Duro on the topic of revolutionizing surveillance and response, right? A glimpse behind the scene of artificial intelligence. Harry Witzthum holds a PhD in philosophy after many years working as a manager for NGOs in the health field. He kind of changed his focus to digital work, and he's actually working as a digital transformation head, right, of Caritas. He works intensely with artificial intelligence and has started programming AI tools for this purpose. And Fabio Duro, he is the founder of Peak Privacy, AI startup focusing on enabling businesses to harness the power of artificial intelligence. And they will talk to us about potential of the AI in surveillance and response. And they, as I understand, will show us 2 demos that they have built for today, I assume, to show how AI can help make surveillance much easier. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Bettina already warned me that we need to do some kind of expectation management also, because when you talk about AI, often I see in discussions that the expectations are either too high, so AI won't be the magic bullet, or too low, and people don't see the potential actually. So today, obviously in the time that we have, we thought that's a good idea to show you just in a prototype what could be done. And I think we just heard that there are challenges. I mean, there is underdiagnosis. We have maybe also challenges in the access to target groups or risk groups, and we have data that is not linked together. And I think that AI, especially generative AI, can have benefits. So you can have a potential to really apply it. And so this is something that we want to show quickly today. Everything was just said, so just the thing that I was in non-profit organizations, also on the side of the target groups. So I do have a little bit of understanding what the challenges are. But now I am at Caritas working with digital transformation, especially AI. But let me start with definitions of artificial intelligence. That's also something that I see that there's not really clear what is it. And I think it's good to have a common basis. So you see at the picture, artificial intelligence is not here just like November 2022 when ChatGPT got really known. So AI broadly is really a broad field of computer science focused on building systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. We're thinking about like reasoning, logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, analysis of natural language, these kinds of things. This is like the big circle, so that's artificial intelligence, was around since the 50s. A little bit down, we go to machine learning. And machine learning is the subset of AI that involves developing algorithms and statistical models that enable computers to learn. So it's really not that a human being hard codes everything in the code. So these are systems that can learn themselves. So it's not everything is coded before. So these are computer systems that can learn. And then we go to generative AI. And we have today here to focus on generative AI. And here you see generative AI is a subfield of machine learning focused on creating new content or data that resembles existing data. Basically, these are machines that you can feed in natural language, and it comes out natural language. And in between, that's where the magic happens, because that's a lot of data where the machine learning or the system learned patterns, learned information, and also how to reason. These are models that can generate text. I mean, this is what you see when you interact with ChatGPT. But obviously, there are other information that could be audio, it could be visuals, it could be images. These are all generative AI, as the name already says, it generates new content. So this is also important. Today, we're not talking about machine learning. There are a lot of developments already on the way in the medical settings. So this is not what we are going to talk about. So we're not talking about automated contract tracing, as it was done also in COVID. That's not our topic today. Not medical image analysis. Mr. Rauch already showed you also an example where artificial intelligence can detect patterns. So we're not talking about this today, but we are going to definitely talk about generative AI and also show you something. We picked out two examples where we, just in the talks that we had also with Bettina, where we think, okay, there could be something, and we go into much more details. So the two examples that we will bring and we will show is one, the European Hepatitis Risk Assessment Training System. So we worked with that. So we fed that into an artificial intelligence system and medical research paper summarizer. I think that is one of the work everyone has to do. It's really consuming a lot of resources, time resources, that could be automated also with artificial intelligence. And I think I already give you,
Thank you.
The thing to show.
So, hello. I'm going to show you today how to build yourself 80% of all AI startups. I know it's a bold claim, but who's making this bold claim? It's me, Fabio. I'm the founder of Peak Privacy. We are a Swiss AI platform. We offer a secure AI chat. So basically, we are an open AI clone that we completely drive in Switzerland, and we are really focused on Swiss-hosted, Swiss-owned data infrastructure. First, we start, before I'm going to show you anything, first we need to start with another definition, large language models. I guess most of you know what a large language model is. Basically, it's what we have behind generative AI. So a large language model is basically a huge Excel sheet with weights that is then run. And this large language model is then used to use for text generation, as you know it from maybe ChatGPT, for comprehension of answering questions and so on. And there are like thousands of large language models. There's not only OpenAI with large language models. No, there are thousands. There are open ones and there are closed ones. And this is what I'm going to show you, how to use these large language models to achieve these demos. And how are we going to achieve this? We use a concept here that is called a constructor or a custom GPT. It's basically a system prompt. So it's like a script for an actor that then the large language model tries to stick to. So also see it a little bit like an apprentice. You tell the apprentice what he should do, what he should put out, and he will try and stick as much to this role as possible. And for this, you basically need a system prompt, which is a text with the instructions and some data. And with these two components, you can build like 80% of all the AI startups, because most of this AI output you see uses this system. And we build a platform where you can build it yourself. And now I'm going soon into the demo, but first another intro before we can start there. So what I'm going to show you, we built it in a couple of hours. So it's not something we were there for months and tested it and big focus groups or anything. So it's really something we built for this event quickly, obviously with some Fachinput, I don't know how to call it in English, but and that they're not production ready. So also here a little warning, because the answers will be quite convincing, I hope. But still, it's not fully tested and production ready. First, we have a risk assessment training system. So it will be a demo about one of these actors. He will act as a training system for hepatitis. What you see here is like the first part of such a prompt, such an instruction. It goes on for many pages. It's around 3 or 4 A4 pages. So we say, you are a specialized medical education assistant focused on helping European healthcare providers. And it goes so on. Then we take it, we tell it what functionality it has and how it should start. And then it goes on for a while. And this is what I'm going to show you first in the demo. And then here we have the medical research paper summarization apprentice. Also here we have a prompt with some instructions, basically, how he should behave. So we tell it it's a medical research assistant, which focuses on creating summaries. And we give it some rules. Also here it's a couple of pages, the instructions. We used obviously also AI to create these instructions in the end. So it's a little bit a circle here. So yeah, and I'm going to go into the demo. So, yeah, so now you should see something. So let's see. So this is the platform that we have here. And here we can, what I did it obviously in a good cooking show, I prepared something. So I already uploaded here a paper, a PDF. I selected here the medical research paper summarization actor or assistant. And now I can ask it to make a summary. And then hopefully I don't have a demo effect. Oh yeah, it works. So it's a paper about also AI, how AI can be used in hospitals. And it makes a summary based a little bit on the structure we defined before. So now I'm going to make a new chat and select here the European Hepatitis Risk Assessment Training System. I'm going to start. Can everybody read it, or is it a little bit too small? Too small, okay. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, huh? Good. So, I start with hello. So we have different functionalities. So I can start with a quiz. Does somebody know the answer?
Can you read the question?
Sorry. Yeah. The question is, which patients require immediate hepatitis screening in Switzerland? A 30-year-old pregnant woman from Germany. B, a 45-year-old Swiss citizen with normal liver functions. C, a 25-year-old asylum seeker from Eritrea. And D, a 60-year-old tourist from France. So somebody want to scream the answer? Otherwise, I'm going to just enter B, and let's see what it says. No, that was the wrong one. Huh? We can ask it another question. Which of the following individuals in Switzerland should be prioritized for hepatitis testing? Can somebody give me an answer? Maybe I make the correct one now. Then I will select A. So, let's see. It seems I made the correct answer. We have other functionalities. So we can do quizzes, case studies, provide an overview of Swiss European guidelines, or assist with evaluating a specific patient scenario. I'm going to ask it about the Swiss guidelines. So this is basically now putting out the information we've had it before. We can also ask it now to help me, guide me through maybe an individual case of a scenario. So and it puts out some assessments. So these are some follow-up questions to assess the risk. I'm now going to answer some of them. So for example, yes, yes. So maybe you can guess the outcome. And it gives me here a recommendation for testing. So, and remember, this is just a apprenticeship, which had like around, what was it, 30 minutes of training and integrating the information we had from the manuals and everything. So maybe you have an idea what I can ask it some more, or what it could do. Sorry?
Pricing in different countries.
Pricing?
Pricing, also costs from different countries.
Of the
therapy. Of therapy.
Costs.
Okay. This it cannot do. It doesn't have this information. It could be that it gives an answer, but we didn't feed it this information, so it could be very wrong. It could be very, very wrong. So, yeah, please.
Can you ask him the error rate of the information he's giving it to us?
Also this, he doesn't know. Remember, he's an actor. He's an actor. He pretends to know everything. He doesn't know. That's something, that's a very good question. It cannot know, and you cannot know the error rate, because it's not thinking, and it's not, it's just pretending to be an actor. So you need, so this can never replace a doctor. Yeah.
And can you ask him the references of what he's saying, because this is one need, or in the AI, the transparency?
That's absolutely right. We didn't set it up like this here, but usually Peak Privacy gives out the references, so you can double check it immediately. Yeah.
Are you liable if it gives wrong answers and somebody has damage from it?
No, I hope not.
how does it compare to ChatGPT or Copilot if you feed them the same resources? Because you can do that in both platforms.
It's absolutely the same. The only difference is that here the data stays in Switzerland. But otherwise, it's very similar. Yeah.
Maybe just a question about liabilities. Yeah. I mean, the workflow that you see here is not completely hallucinating because it's accessing the whole database that we fed in. So it's the guidelines. So he's extracting information from there. So you could also say, where do you got this information from? So it really is checking that. So you can be assured that with the database, the generative AI model really extracting information from there and not just hallucinating. So that's also because ChatGPT, without a database, there is a high risk that it's getting to be like hallucination and false information. With this workflow here, it's not the case because we constraining the language model to really access the information that we gave it and told him just extract information only from this database and not from anything else. So that's a big difference between...
I think you can do that also with ChatGPT-like tools, that you can exactly restrict the amount of information, and usually that's where it works much better.
Yeah. Definitely you can upload. I mean, you have this click where you can upload, and you have these custom GPTs where you also can have a database and connect it to it. So you can do that. And with these, also with the platform, we'd have different models, and you need to check which model is the best. So you have small language model, large language models, and once it gets complicated, as in this case, you would need to have a strong language model. Yeah.
I would just like to come back to the question about references. I would like to share an anecdote of last week. For interest, I asked an expert question to ChatGPT on hepatitis, and then I asked for the references precisely. And they gave me some obviously important references, referencing to WH and so on. But when I checked the references, they didn't confirm what the statements were. So I think we have to be very careful, even if we ask for references.
How the system works here is a little bit different. So we have like a database where we upload all the information, and this data is then searched like with classical programming methods, and then injected into the answer. So we can then really reference with a 100% certainty really the content that was used to generate the answer, to circumvent exactly this. Because if you ask ChatGPT to give you references, it will invent references if it doesn't find one. So
that's exactly my experience. It's exactly the experience.
This is actually a very good and important point. You do not use ChatGPT out of the box where it's a sensible information material, because the hallucination rate is really high. I mean, this is exactly a typical explanation where I also had an experience where we said, give me the hyperlinks to your sources, and when you click, it's nirvana. It's nowhere. That's exactly why you need to have these kinds of workflows where the database is yours, it's specific, and you connect it to the language model, and you constrain it to give the information and the sources. So yeah, you are assured that it's really the information that is in the guideline in this case. Yeah.
Is there some way of supervising the system? So if you see there are clear errors, can you say, please do not do that?
Usually in the workflows that we use, it's really an expert system. So it's not something you would give to a patient or anybody else. So you then have always the chance to correct what it's actually doing and give some feedback to it.
And the next time is then better?
Yeah.
So if you say this answer is wrong, because in ChatGPT it does all the same mistakes.
Oh yeah, it's here we usually give the control to then adjust it, so it gives the right answer to then analyze. Hey, why did it give the wrong answer? And then after this analysis, you can then correct it. Ich glaube,
quickly back to this reference trap. I mean, it is not only that they invented references, but it is also the fact that, I mean, even the extraction of the conclusions of a reference is sometimes wrongly done, or just the other way around. That is very interesting, you see. I mean, we could show you such examples. You get a reference which actually confirms something which is exactly the opposite. Because actually, I don't know how this algorithm then worked, that they actually came to a different conclusion as what were the authors. That was interesting.
It's very easy to get a system like this to give you wrong answers. So you have it all the time, and then it's really a task to make it not give you wrong answers all the time, and to restrict it. But the expectation can never be of such a system to give you 100% correct answer. It's not possible and will not be possible.
But maybe that's also a good point. I mean, you always need to test, and in the end, the AI applications that you have, because it's the expertise. And then when you see that it makes mistakes systematically, you go back to the system prompt and check if you have a mistake there. You make it better, you test it, and once it's really on the quality level that you think now it's good, then you go into production. So this is not something, this is what I said in the beginning, it's not a magic bullet. You need to work with it, and you need to have the expertise, the human expertise. Because as Fabio said, this is kind of an apprentice. But it's kind of a smart apprentice, right? And it's really fast, and it works all the time. But the expertise is the thing that is really driving the quality. So this is just an example that we took with the guidelines, but because the challenges, one of the challenges is the underdiagnosis, and that could be a help if it's once the quality is okay. Could be a help, maybe a communication help, where you talk with the patient and a medic, with the support of such AI tool that really reminds you, did you check that? Because these are the guidelines. These are the best practices. That could help. And especially with the summarizations of the articles, the research articles. I mean, there are thousands coming like every day. With an AI application, you could really chat with the documents. You could say, just find me out what are the trends in these 1,000 articles, what are the basic points, what are the innovation in there, and how do I do that? How do I go about? What are the steps? So that could be also a support, which, as you said, really quickly. And it's not just summarizing the articles, because you can start chatting with it. So you say, okay, tell me about point 3, go into more depth, go into more information. Show me what is really innovative about that approach and how it's done. How can I replicate it? What should I do? And so these are kinds of you going about with natural language and not with coding language. So that's kind of a benefit also.
One more question. Do you have plans to go live with this, or is it just research?
This is just a demo for today to show you a little bit in which direction it can go. There's absolutely no plans so far to go live, and also no plans to go live in even in which direction for who. So yeah.
I think there was another question.
Oh.
Yeah, sort of along the same lines. Obviously, there could be loads of other applications for this, beyond the, hepatitis, obviously beyond regional. And if I wanted to make use of that service, what is your business model? Like, come to you guys, the apprentice is cheap, and you'll help me do it, sort of, or how would that sort of approach look like?
Yeah, basically, again, we are a clone of like OpenAI, so we are a normal company. We offer these services, basically this platform with some workshops for integration for a fee. Yeah.
And so the data is housed in Switzerland, but it
Yep.
can be used and accessed internationally? Or?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, maybe
Yeah.
I'll chat to you in the break then.
Yep.
Okay. So if I've still got some time, I also want to go into a little bit of data privacy issues, because that's also has come up, and I think that's really, really important thing that we need to keep in mind also. So if we can quickly go back to the presentation. Okay. So we saw these models are really thriving on data, so they need to have data. It's kind of the old saying, so crap in, crap out. If your data is not in a good quality, the performance won't be good. And you need to be really aware, because obviously in the setting, these are quite sensible data, and you need to be sure where the data is going. So that was also mentioned. If you just input it in open, or the ChatGPT, OpenAI, your data goes to America, to a server, will be worked with there, and even may be saved there. So you never know what's happening with these data. And if it's data that is really on a personalized, that you have a name in there, and it's not anonymized, there is a data breach, right? So it would be in America, it would be there, data protection would not be done correctly, and even it could be used for training purposes. So you need to be aware, where is the data, where's the language model, and how can we work with it so that it's kind of a safe environment. And so with the platform, we developed also these kinds of data protection to really have this kind of thinking behind it, that you need to be sensible about it. So obviously you have personal data, which is highly sensible data, so you need to make sure that that doesn't go out, and that it's used somewhere. So that needs to be in a very safe environment. You got confidential business information that you don't want to show to other organizations. Maybe it's also kind of in the private sector. You don't want to show that, right? So you need to be sure that it's in your environment. And the intellectual property, third party, if you're using texts, images that are like with intellectual property, you potentially are breaching law. So you need to be very sure which kind of models you're using for which kinds of tasks. So just uploading, and this is something that I'm seeing a lot with collaborators also, they just upload information that are either sensible because it's person-based, or it's confidential business information, and you just lose completely control, and you're not sure if you're in a data breach or not. So that can have consequences, because if you are in a data breach, that could, in Switzerland, be up to 250,000. You as a person, not the company you're working at, you as a person who caused the breach are personally responsible for that. So what's also important is really to know, where are these servers located? So in Switzerland, we do have these laws. So kind of, you see green is kind of safe. EU is okay still, because I mean, they have data protection laws that we have contracts with, so it's a good basis. But as soon as the data leaves the EU, goes to US or other third countries, where you do not have the kinds of contracts or agreements with these countries, or the data protection laws are not as strong as in the EU or in Switzerland, you basically have a risk that you're in violation of data protection laws. So this is also something you need to keep in mind. And what we showed you also, because with this AI workflow that we showed you, as we said, it's cloned in Switzerland, it's here, the language model is here, the servers are here, the data is also here, it's your data because you created a data bank behind it. So the whole AI workflow is in a safe environment because it's protected. The data are, as I said, in the safe environments. You can also work with very sensible information and being assured that it's not getting out. And so that is also like peak privacy, your business model, and you can maybe also show or give a little bit of information how you did it, that people can rest assured that the data rests in their control and it doesn't go out?
Yeah, so basically what we did, we use only open source models. So there are some models, some large language models that you can just download and run it on your computer. Usually you need a much bigger computer that is a little bit expensive. So that's what we do. We download this computer and we put it in a Swiss data center, and without any like third-party involvement, like a cloud service or anything, we then run it, and therefore can also guarantee that we don't save any information that you don't want to be stored. And we focus really on providing these AI services to customers without any background interest, like training or then using the data to improve our models. So, so for example, this improvement workflows that was asked before, we just do it as an exception. So it's an add-on that we do sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope we just gave you a glimpse. This is really just a glimpse. I mean, as Fabio said, we just spent like kind of 30 minutes to just showcasing these kinds of cases. I think going back to the challenges where we had like undiagnosed or underdiagnosed could be something that we can say, this is a training. We can use the guidelines, the best practices as the basis and develop kind of conversational AI applications which can be used. We said like access to target or risk groups. AI is really good at personalizing communication and information. So if you know the properties of the groups, you can really specifically target the communication for these groups so that they have kind of low barriers. And then you can ask this conversation. And the integration of data is also something which AI really thrives. If you have the databases, we heard that, you can connect them and you can start asking questions. And you can start really putting or going with analysis with these kinds of data banks that we have. So it's connecting information. And this is quite easily to be done. You've seen there is not a lot of code. Everything is taken care of in the background. It's just your expertise which enters into the system prompts. And as Fabio also said, these could be 3-4 pages where you strictly tell what the language model needs to do. And so I hope maybe that gave a little bit of ideas. I mean, it's just the beginning also. And it will depend on you how to find where are the real use cases where you see an added benefit. And I'm sure that there will be an AI application that one can build to really support these kinds of issues. So thanks a lot for your questions also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.